I've been getting into researching the biblical focus on self care. And I want to talk about what implementing that self care really means for me and what it's actually been like. Because what I'm finding is that it really hasn't been convenient, but I'm finding that it's really necessary. So, my work days, I spend talking, counseling, listening, carrying the weight of others. And at the end of most days, I feel overwhelmed and exhausted. I would tell myself that I was actually taking care of myself. And in some ways, I really was, but probably not the way that I needed to. And so when I really thought about it and I began to research and read a little bit more, I just wasn't taking care of myself. So many of us think about self care as a long vacation, a long bath, a trip to the spa, and those are ways to care for self. But I'm focusing on biblical self care, which I'm finding is a lot deeper. Biblical self care is about stewardship, it's about the way that I take care of my mind, my body, and my spirit. We're people who work very hard. We show up for our jobs, our families, our communities. We give, we pour. Some of us are caring for aging parents or others who need emotional support. And in all of that, we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. We give and we give and we give. But as I pondered this well quoted scripture from Genesis, it really caught my attention. It's the scripture that said that God created everything and then he rested. And God rested not because he needed the rest or because he was tired, but he rested because it was part of his divine plan. It was part of his plan to show us how to care for ourselves. If it mattered that God created in 6 days and rested on the seventh day, it mattered in creation, it definitely matters to me. Self-care matters to me. So what that did for me is really started to cause me to think about self-care in a different way and caused me to think about what I wanted to do to take care of myself in a very realistic way, something that I could actually carry out. I didn't want to overcommit to something that I couldn't handle or couldn't do. I teach about it, I preach about it, I talk about it, but now I need to live it. So what I decided to do was do some things that were very simple. Every morning before I start work, I stretch. Some mornings I exercise, but even the mornings that I don't exercise, I stretch. In the evenings after work, I stretch. Not only do I stretch, but I take in deep breaths and I release. I take in deep breaths and I release. And then I relax. Most times I lay on the bed. I just lay on my back and just release, rest. And my goal is to just release the cares of the world. I breathe deeply to just release and relax because so many days I feel tension in my shoulders and my back, and sometimes even pressure in my head. I'm just so overwhelmed with receiving information and giving all day. After I rest and relax and I feel like I'm a little bit rejuvenated, I move into gratefulness and thanksgiving for my life, my health, my strength, my job, my family, just off of Thanksgiving. Nothing grand, just off of Thanksgiving. Some days I never make it to Thanksgiving because I'm so tired that I actually fall asleep. That's still self-care. But what I am learning in this process is that I need to show up for me in order to show up for someone else. I need to take care of this body, this mind, and this spirit, and make sure that it is fueled in a way that I can keep moving. And not to just keep moving for someone else, but to keep moving for myself. I want to show up for me. But one of the things this does for me is it helps me to show up better for others. It helps me to show up better in every other area of my life.